Well, Brian and Diane are away for the weekend after, I suppose, a good deserved rest. But I think you guys have been spoiled for too long now. When Brian gets up to preach, you know that it's going to be 30 minutes. Matthew gets up to preach 20 minutes. Sit back and relax. Since the beginning of time, there's never, ever been, and there never will be, another person just like you. You are rare. You are unique. You are different. You were designed for accomplishment. You were engineered for success. And you are endowed with the seeds of greatness. Genesis chapter 1 and verse 27. So God created man in his image, in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, man and female, he created them. Our DNA that we actually have in our bodies has actually been created in the image of God. You ladies who are pregnant right now, that fetus that is in your belly, in your womb, that fetus is created in the image of God. Have you ever thought about just how significant that is? So why is it that we often trash talk ourselves? Why is it so often that we actually say things about our own selves that are actually demeaning? This is generally an indication of a low self-esteem. But do you realize that when you trash talk yourself, what you're actually saying is, God, you've made some junk here. What you've made, how can you be satisfied with this? Okay? And yet we are made in his image. Have you ever noticed the difference between men and women when it comes to self-image and mirrors? Okay? I mean, you're walking down the street and the big plate glass windows, and you can see a bit of reflection there, and you're walking along, the guy will walk past, check it out, and the girl will walk past and like, oh, my hair, my makeup, okay? Very different sort of way that we look at each other. Psalms chapter 19 says that, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart. Now, what does the meditation of my heart actually mean? It's how we think, okay? So let the words of my mouth and the way we think, the meditation of my heart, be acceptable in the sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. I feel like a Boney M song coming on here. Let the words of my... You know that song, okay. Anyway, so our words are so powerful, okay? The words we use with ourselves and with others can have a huge impact on our lives and those who we come into contact with. The elements that are associated with a high self-esteem are generally good family relationships, good moral standings, religion, close friends, financial well-being, hobbies, and social standings. But how many of us are lucky to have all of these elements? You can change what you are, and you can change where you are by just changing what actually goes on in your mind. Motivation and positive thinking won't work for an individual who does not believe that they themselves are capable of doing anything. Have you noticed how many people take selfies? Posting it on Facebook, okay? And then looking to see how many likes they get. All right? Now, what that is just a sign of a very, very low self-image. Because what you're trying to do by selfies is you're trying to get other people's approval of what you look like the whole time. Okay? And looking at all those, if you do not get enough likes, okay, you don't feel very good. Why aren't people liking me? Okay? And this actually tends to actually give you a low self-esteem. So likes and selfies and stuff like that are really not a sign of a high self-esteem, but a sign of a low self-esteem. So let's just play a game for a minute. And let's just assume that you get up early in the morning and you're getting ready for work. And as you're about to get out of bed, the phone rings. And on the other line is an old friend of yours, and he says, "Granty, my boy, I've just been meaning to call you for a long time now, and I think you're one of the nicest guys I have ever met. You're a real asset to this community and a credit to your profession. What a delight it is to call you a friend. I wish that you and I could spend more time together. Every time I'm around you, I feel more enthusiastic. I do so much better. If I could just spend 20 minutes of my day with you, my life would be wonderfully rich. I could do so much more. I should have called you and told you this long ago, but for some reason I didn't. So I just want to say it now. I really look forward to the next time that we actually meet together. Till later," and they hang up. So let me ask you this question. If you received a phone call like that early in the morning, and it was from an old trusted friend, and you knew that he was serious, what kind of day do you think you'd have? Magnificent, right? If you were a doctor, would you be a better doctor? If you were a housewife, would you be a better housewife? If you need to make a sales call, would you not make a better sales call? Would you not be a better mother, a father, a truck driver, a student? Would you not be better at whatever you're doing? How much more would you know about being a doctor, or a housewife, or a student, or a truck driver, or a mother or a father? You wouldn't know anything more, but all of a sudden your self-image has changed, and you would be so much better at what you are doing. The truth is that we would be so much better and think better because we would think a lot more of ourselves. So if that was to make us feel a lot better, why don't we make that phone call and call on a regular basis to somebody who we know and respect and admire, and you can honestly say something nice about? How do you think that would make that person feel? And how do you think that person's day is going to pan out that day? Not only will it make their day better, it will make your day better. You see, you can get what you want by helping others get what they want. However, if you do it with the expectation that you're going to do something nice for somebody, that something nice is going to happen to you, it doesn't work that way. The reason it works for the recipient, the person you're telling it to, and the one that is making the call, is it follows a very good basic human principle. And that is, the need to feel important has been described as one of the most basic functions of our lives. And unless on occasions we are made to feel important, we will not be able to function at our best. And unless we can be, on occasion, to feel important, we're never going to be the best person that we can. As we look at our self-image here, that's exactly what we're talking about here, self-image. A telephone call to receive or give will make you feel a lot better. It will do amazing things for your self-image. Joyce Brothers said that the way you dress, the occupation you choose, the mate you select, your moral conduct, and all these things are tied to the picture we have of ourselves. How many people dress up to go to work in the mornings, and when they come home, they dress down? Okay? Because they do it because they're worried about what other people think about them, but when they get home, they don't really worry about what their spouses think about them. How many people, when they're dating, dress up to go out on a date, and when they marry, they dress down to take their wives or spouses out for a date? Basically, this is sending a subliminal message to that significant other person in your life that they're not really worthy of your best. How many women put makeup on when they're dating, and when they're married, they forget that this is not necessary anymore? Okay? It is true that we cannot perform in any manner which is inconsistent with the way we see ourselves. If we are constantly finding fault in others as if there is a reward for it, it is simply a reflection of our own self-image. Josh? Thank you. If we can't say simply something good about someone, we rather not say it at all. And if you have something to say that you say about that person, you should be able to say it in front of them if they were in the room. We need to consistently build up the people that are around us, especially our spouses, by saying nice things. If you haven't got something nice to say, don't say it at all. So how do we change a poor self-image into a healthy one? The world's greatest leaders and progressive thinkers have always used the power of words to transform our emotions and help inspire us towards the visions that they create actionable changes. Winston Churchill was famous for saying, "This is our finest hour." And Martin Luther King his depiction of "I have a dream" inspired people by the words that they said. And it's evident that the words shape our entire existence. But what about our own ability to use words internally to change our own lives for the better? Words that can ignite change, inspire action, and improve the quality of our own lives. Can changing the words we use change your life? Our words are a vehicle for expressing and sharing our experiences with others. But you may not realize the far-reaching impacts of the words we use on a daily balance. Do you know that a child by the age of 6 years old has 90% of all the words they will ever use in their life they actually can speak already? The words they are using at 6 years old are what they have experienced from their parents and their peers. If they are kept being told, "You're stupid, you're naughty, you're silly," and those are the words that they actually become internalized in their own self-being, can you imagine what is going to happen to that child when they grow up? Their self-esteem is going to be low. I was disgusted the other day. I actually saw a post on Facebook. Somebody posted a 4-year-old swearing. And they thought that this was so cute that this child was using the F word on Facebook, and all the likes that they were getting, it was... Now, I was just thinking that child is growing up in an environment when the words that they are learning from their parents are going to be creating the self-image of that child in the future. How huge is that responsibility that we have as parents to be able to instill in our children words that they will one day look back on, and that will create the image that God had instilled in them. So how we speak to yourselves directly influences how we experience things in life. If your internal self-talk, when you talk to yourself internally, is negative, chances are that your external experiences will be negative as well. The power is that by changing just one key word in your own vocabulary can have an influential way on the way that you feel and how you behave. By simply changing our habitual vocabulary, the words you consistently use to describe your own emotions, you can instantly change the way you think and the way you feel and the way you live. How many people get up in the morning and say, "Good God, it's morning"? Or how do you say, "Good morning, God"? Same words, just used differently. And that changes the whole way, the whole day ahead of you actually goes. So by making internal vocabulary more positive, you will be amazed at the positive external experiences that you will discover. Constantly using words to improve will change your life. So what is habitual vocabulary? What does that mean? It means the words that we use regularly. Habitual vocabulary. Do you know that the English dictionary contains 500,000 words? 500,000 words in the dictionary. Yet the average person's vocabulary consists of only 2,000. That is 0.5% of the words that are out there that we use on a regular basis. There's so many words that only so many words make up our habitual vocabulary. For most people, it averages around about 200 to 300 words. That's all you use. Out of 500,000 words available, each one of us will use only around about, on average, 200 to 300 of those words regularly. By contrast, some of our great authors in life, John Milton's writings, he used 17,000 words in his writings. William Shakespeare used 24,000 words when he wrote his sonnets. 5,000 of those he only ever used once and never used them again. Out of the 500,000 words that are in our dictionary, about 3,000 of those are used to describe emotions. Now, out of the 3,000 words that we use to describe emotions, 2,000 of those are negative emotions, and only 1,000 of those are used for positive emotions. So what if you were asked to make a list of the emotions that you feel during the week? If you come up with about 90% of the people will be able to write down around about 12 emotions that you feel. The problem is that most of them more than half of those emotions that we actually write down will be negative as opposed to the positive ones. That means out of the 3,000 words that we have for emotions, most people will list less than 6 words that will describe good feelings. But the words for their bad feelings are more likely to be available, stored and remembered. Have you ever taken the time to think about which words that you habitually use and how they may be affecting your life and your well-being? Can you see how a negative vocabulary can affect your emotions and your experiences? Well, let's look at this phenomenon in another light. What if a person was asked the same question and listed 30 positive emotions? How happy and fulfilled do you think that person's life would be, as opposed to just 6 positive emotions? If you had to just come across somebody who had this list of positive emotions that they could write down, that person would be a great person to be around. The problem is that our default setting isn't to consciously choose our words to describe our emotions. When we experience distressing emotions, we unconsciously fall back on our habitual vocabulary. The words that we attach to our experiences become the experience. Words have biochemically affected our bodies. The minute we use a word like devastated, we're going to produce a different biochemical effect than if you just use the word, I'm just disappointed. Devastated, disappointed. Kind of can do the same job, but one will give you a very different biochemical internal reaction than if you said, I'm disappointed. So it's not hard to see the impact of language when we look at how we feel when we ask people. For example, if someone says to you, I think you're mistaken, it has the same thing as if they said, I think you're wrong, or I think you're lying. Same words, same meaning. But how does it make you feel if someone said you're lying, or if somebody says, I think you're mistaken, or if somebody says, I think you're wrong? So how we actually approach people and how we say words can have a biochemical reaction for the same reason. The exact same process happens with the words we use when we speak to ourselves. But unfortunately, we are less conscious of the impact of the words that we use for ourselves. Change your words and change your life. Language shapes our behavior, and each word we use is infused with multitudes of personal meanings. The right words spoken in the right way can bring us love, money, and respect, while the wrong words, or even the right words spoken in the wrong way, can lead a country to war. Now look what Trump is doing on Twitter. The words he uses are insightful and bring people's emotions up. Helen Ziller also. You might be saying things that are true, but you say them in the wrong context and you say them in the wrong way. Okay, we must be careful how we orchestrate our speech if we want to achieve our goals and bring our dreams to fruition. Well, could it really be this easy? By just changing the words we habitually use to describe our emotions, could we change our feelings and the quality of our lives? If we can be proactive by choosing our emotions, we make our experiences a lot more pleasurable. If you're wondering how to change your life in the most easiest way possible, start with one word. Replace one word that will transform the way you experience something negative. Shifting your emotion patterns is the key to shaping your decisions, action, and life. So this is how you create a choice instead of a habitual reaction. Transformational vocabulary, that means taking a proactive way to change the way that we speak, gives you the power to change your experiences by lowering the intensity of negative emotions to the point where they will no longer control you. It can also be used to positively experience and increase your positive experiences even to greater heights and pleasure. So how extraordinary would your life be when you consistently lower the intensity of negative emotions and intensify the positive ones? We have to start somewhere. We've got to start small. Note the negative words that you use on a consistent basis and ask yourself, how can I change these? Can you be peeved instead of devastated? On the other hand, can you feel ecstatic instead of pleased? Internal dialogue can change your life. Just creating small benefits every day and small habits every day, you'll quickly learn to reach more positive, joyful states. So when somebody asks you the question, how are you doing? And if you said, if you're actually feeling terrible, if you said, I'm terrible, you're going to even feel worse. What if you just changed the word and said, well, not quite as I had imagined? And what if a driver cuts in front of you in the traffic, Michael? And instead of shouting, idiot, okay, You say to the, that driver seems to be a little bit challenged this morning. I wonder if he's in a hurry. What about when you say, I'm so angry? What about saying, I'm not quite as happy as I used to be? Do you know anger is the punishment that you give yourself for other people's misdemeanors? It's when other people are doing wrong that you get angry. They don't even know you're angry. And your blood pressure is rising. And you feel terrible. And the rest of your day is spoiled. We have a variety of words that we can use for our emotional states. Josh? When we're happy and alive, and we want to use words, I've listed a whole pile of words here. Blissful, joyful, delighted, overjoyed, gleeful. Okay, we can use a pile of words that actually can enhance our ability to feel happy and alive. So bring these words into your vocabulary. So when people ask you, how are you doing? Wondrous, marvelous, fantastic, humongous, fantabulous. Make up your own words, okay? But if somebody says to you, I'm fine, okay? And somebody asks you, how are you doing? Fine. Fine is not a word. Fine should be out of your dictionary. It should not exist, okay? If you want to be inspired, what about motivated, eager, keen, earnest, inspired, enthusiastic, bold, brave, daring? Okay, these are words that you should internalize in your own self. We're about to break for some tea now. Made it. We're about to break for some tea now, and when you're talking to your friends, right there, having a cup of tea, I want you to try and change some of the words that you habitually use. So if somebody says to you, fine, give them a slap across the face, okay? I want you to replace that with fabulous, awesome, blessed. Make up your own words. Unbelievable. And feel what it does to your own being. I promise you, your day today will be a hell of a lot better if you change the way you think. I'm going to leave you with this thought, and I thank you, Philip, for actually reading the scripture this morning. It comes from Paul's letter to the Philippians. And it says, now, dear brothers and sisters, Josh? And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true, what is honorable, and what is right, and what is pure, and what is lovely, and what is admirable. Think about these things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Let's stand and sing.